Another weekend, and it's time to get it down with me. And as you know, the name, the face doesn't change. It's still DJay, and you're welcome to the Get Down podcast. As usual, I'm here with the familiar face you already know.
And I'm watching those.
Charlie Poe, you're welcome to the Get Down.
Thanks for having me, Charlie.
Like I said last week, we are going to have a sequel to the conversation we had about trust in relationship, building trust, establishing trust. So today, we are diving straight into the conversation, and what we are discussing is boundaries in relationships. Okay, we are discussing boundaries in relationship. This is a nice one, and I believe you'll be able to learn a thing or two by the time we are done. So, as I said, we are going straight into the conversation. Bro, let's establish this. What do we mean by boundaries? When you say boundaries, what do we mean by boundaries when it comes to relationships?
Okay, so boundaries basically is about setting clear limits. About your relationships, things that you would want to do, things that you don't want to be done to you. Letting your partner know that this is the limits that you shouldn't cross when it comes to me. Okay, so it is like we can use a classic example as countries. We Ghana share border with Togo and then other neighboring countries. So there is a border that is a boundary. Okay, the moment you leave that, you cross that border, you are coming into another
country,
and then that country has a different set of rules and regulations that governs the country. So you have to subject to the rules of that country. So
I like that.
Boundaries are like the limits that you shouldn't cross.
Okay.
So they are the limits you shouldn't cross in a relationship. So that is all about boundaries in a relationship.
Boundaries. Okay. So let's look at boundaries. With respect to physical boundaries, because we know that usually, let me say this before we talk about that. Usually when we talk about boundaries, it seems that the things that come into mind usually are things that deals with phones. Because this generation, we are all about phones and social media, but I think we both believe that boundaries go beyond that. So we are going to be looking at boundaries in different areas and angles. So the first one we start with is physical boundaries.
Okay. So like I like the way you put it. Most of us, the youth, may neglect the other aspects of boundaries. Boundaries have a lot of aspects. So like you mentioned, physical boundaries. When we are talking about that tangent, we are talking about the physical stuff. For instance, your space as a person. When you go into a relationship, people would want their space to be in a certain manner. Okay. People would want their things to be arranged in certain order. Okay. Others may probably be reckless and then
they don't
really care
what's where or anything.
So if you are in a relationship with somebody and then the person isn't doesn't keep a composure that you have, doesn't know how to keep his place order as you
as how you would want it
to be. It can always create a conflict. Okay, so it's advisable to let the person know whenever you realize that this is how you are. So probably we have to do this in order so that it will help over. And then it's advisable to let the person know the reason why you are setting that limit.
True.
Okay, so that is one of them. Aside that, I think there are others. When it comes to physical boundaries,
even intimacy and then touch. Physical touch. There are people who don't want to be touched in a certain kind of way.
It's true.
You get it? If you touch them in that certain kind of way, you disturb their feelings, their emotions.
Turn them off.
You get it? Not just turning them off. Sometimes they can get traumatized. In as much as it sounds funny. Because there are people too, when you are relating to them,
They want you to be aggressive.
Probably when you are indoors and you are touching them, they are comfortable. But when you're outside and you are touching them,
so of affection and
yes, you get it. They don't like that in that regard. So there should be some sort of boundary set in that regard.
So, if I understand what you're saying, it means that if your partner touches you in a way that you don't like, it's advisable to let the person know that, oh, Miami has Miami say, I mean,
it's true.
It's good that you let the person know.
Yeah, so obviously.
Maybe the touch may be probably inflicting pain on you for all, and then the person may not even know. So exactly. If you make it clear to the person, oh, if you do this, I mean, it's better this way than to, I mean,
true.
The physical touch is important. I think people should take note of that.
Yeah. Okay. You have anything else, or that's fine?
Physical touch, I think it's a lot, but then maybe we can look at this.
Okay.
These are the.
All right. So let's jump to the emotional boundary. You can set emotional boundaries for you and your partner. Something about sharing your feelings, your vulnerabilities, and then generating empathy for the partner. Yeah. Can you touch on that?
Yeah. So on that tangent, emotions, we always say that it's about how you feel. Okay. So how you make a person feel in a relationship. I mean, there should be, a rule controlling it. There should be a guideline, not rule. I think I shouldn't use that word. There should be some guidelines controlling how, you are relating with the person, because whatever thing that transpires in a relationship creates feelings. Okay, so let's say the way you converse with your partner, generate certain kind of feeling. The way and the manner you probably communicate your thoughts, you probably communicate your feelings to your partner, may probably mean a lot to the other part, the other side. Okay, so let's say when you're angry, the way you probably conduct yourself.
True.
You are communicating your anger, but how you are communicating it
comes off as way too harsh.
Too harsh.
In a negative sphere.
The way I'll be acting.
Yeah, true.
It be you will feel belittled in your entire life. You feel like people also don't
talking to me this way, you're acting to me.
So
in this regard,
how you make a person feel in the relationship.
Okay.
Yeah, there should be a limit. If you know, say you have anger, you should solve it. If say, it's only relationship and you can't contain the person's anger, don't settle for it.
Okay.
You get it. So know the limits. So okay, as soon as it's more tolerating way, so it is really important that way.
Okay. And then let me add something small. You see, each and everybody comes from a different home. You get it? So everybody also have their way, how emotional everybody is.
Yes.
Okay. Some people are emotionally vulnerable.
Very.
Some are not. So if if there isn't the kind of conversation where you guys talk about your emotions, how you're able to carry yourself during your emotional time, because people easily break down emotionally.
And then they act.
People, especially guys, don't like to be vulnerable with their emotions. You get it? So you have to learn to respect that. If somebody is talking to you about their emotions, how they don't want to be, talked to in this manner, you have to understand. You establish that, and then you move on to enjoy your relationship. You don't want to know war. You get it?
Emotionally too. Yeah. There's some people in a relationship, the way they criticize wrongdoings may make their partner feel certain kind of way. Some of them may feel belittled. Like
they are going to say it.
The way
that's why probably in public.
And then
people don't know how to come out to you in public. You have to learn. You set that boundary. So if you are talking to me in public, you know how you communicate exactly. You don't just say anything as it is. Of course, it can't. Sometimes to cry, it can be playfully. There are certain things. There are jargons you guys use when you are in your personal spaces. When you are together, there are certain things somebody wouldn't feel comfortable for you to say it outside there. Like you have a pet name, you call him when you're in the house. Like me, somebody who I like calling somebody Okiadonko. Imagine if you are there and I'm calling you Okiadonko from far, and then they see a fine girl coming. So someone wouldn't like that. You get it? No disrespect to Madam Okiadonko. No disrespect, because we don't want to blast them. But exactly. And there are certain names, you call people they wouldn't like. So it's all goes down with the emotional boundary setting.
Sure.
Okay, let's do this also. Intellectual. Let's do this together. In fact, intellectual and financial, so that we can save time.
Yeah. So intellectually, I mean, once you are in a relationship, definitely you are building a life, so you should be open to ideas.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, there is this saying that wisdom is not, I mean, I don't know how they put it, but almost some say,
yeah, there's no man in one head.
No man is an island of himself.
Yeah,
so
true.
That's the thing. Definitely, your partner may, one way or the other, would want to suggest ideas, to you. Okay. Suggest ideas to you. So, in case, I mean, you are in a relationship and then you would want to suggest ideas to your partner, you should know how to go about it.
Yeah.
And then the other partner should know how to accommodate.
And then definitely you should understand that everybody has his own IQ. You get it? Some people are way intelligent than others. So sometimes the way you come off explaining certain things to someone,
you may see it simply, but the other person may probably not see it in that same.
Use your head.
When
it gets to that level. So talking to somebody on an intellectual standpoint, you have to set a boundary in that regard also, because you don't just say anything.
Yeah, the way some people even converse, they may probably belittle your ideas and then even look down upon you, especially in a public space. That's what I say. So you the way they would probably treat your idea in front of people will make you feel like you don't even regard me, your partner. Okay, so there should be boundaries. If you want to address it, know how to address it, such that the person will not feel belittled.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is what I will have to say about it. And then probably financial. This thing is very.
It's a very important thing.
Yeah.
In relationship.
I think
especially in a dating relationship, not marriage. Okay. Because marriage is like you guys are together, so you have to share things. If the person is, privy to your financial status, is fine. But when in dating terms, in a relationship, there are certain things that
I think I've always told you this, that if you know, say you can't afford it, don't scare yourself to do it. Let the person know that okay, this is what I can do. Okay.
So that's why the conversation has to come in.
So let the person know your limits. Okay, the person is demanding.
Set a boundary to it.
Yes.
Okay.
It shouldn't be like okay around the man and I said, no. It's our problem right now is people feel like your bad relationship more. Bear man is all taking care of me. It's not right. We are in a relationship. We are not married. This is hard for people to accept, but that's the truth on the ground. We are in a relationship. If somebody is helping you, the person is doing it willfully. What I say?
That's what you are saying there.
No,
it won't go down well for a lot of ladies watching.
I have to tell the truth. I mean, truth is not always.
The truth is bitter. It's a bitter pill to swallow. So, I mean,
if we are in a relationship, I mean, it's not about say we are in a relationship. I feel me about the wale. Intimate first, I'm going to I feel near Bobby Water.
This kind of man, I know about bubbles. No trouble.
So I feel near Bobby Water. If you need some financial help and I will be able to assist, it should be within my capacity and I should be able to do it willfully. The reason why I'm saying that is it shouldn't be the case where things probably later or in the tomorrows ahead things doesn't work out and then you start to feel like you have invested.
But in this case, how do you set such a boundary?
So for yourself, you know that okay, this is what I can accommodate.
And how do you communicate that
boundary to the person? What you can accommodate. So the thing is, if you are giving it out, put it at the back of your mind that say I'm working out. You gave it out willfully.
Okay.
What I say, so that when say how too much the residents say. I mean, if you say why invest or buy new job.
Yeah.
You get it. So that the limit should be knows okay. Me, that watcher me say means me 20,000 financial bar at this time.
You don't have some.
I don't have some. Meet me for more. That is the thing. So meet me for more. And see, a man go nipa name be don't let the person blackmail you emotionally or make you feel like as a you are not.
So yeah, you have to get that conversation, talked about. You have to get that, and then even your financial, capabilities. Do you think you have to let your partner know that in a dating relationship, like how much you earn and all that?
I think it's, for me, this one is personal. For me, I don't think it's.
I mean, it's not marriage. It's not marriage. You don't know how. You don't have to know how much I earn. If you want to be with me, it's not how much I earn. That is it.
Open me. I made music. If you are.
But the sad reality is most ladies lately get into relationship because of their financial needs. So when they are coming to you to date you, it's like what they are expecting you to give to them. So when you're having a conversation like this with them, it's always going to be difficult because some people are going to look at you in a microscope of you being a stingy man, the Stingy Man Association's president. You get it? So it's always going to be creating problems. But it's a very important conversation to have, of course, because if the person knows this is how much you can give at a certain point of time. It's best you let the person know that before, or you don't have to be acting like Joe something to impress the person at a point. Or it gets to a point you are not able to, deliver, then it makes it come off like you are being stingy, or you are doing other stuff behind the person and the person is not knowing. So yeah,
like I said, this thing is very important, especially in a relationship. If you can't afford, let the person know. Okay, let the person know, and then. I hate to say that, but we make it look like chinchina when it comes to this. There's a bear man then provide when
I mean
that
is why I'm saying that it's just like most ladies get into relationship because of what they are going to get from the relationship.
Yeah, expecting.
At first, probably relationship was all about getting to know each other. Building something to end up in marriage. But lately, most ladies get into relationship because of their financial needs. So they are looking at a guy. He's a nice guy, but of course, he should have this financial capabilities to be able to take care of me. What I say. So it's always coming to going to be difficult when you are in there with someone like that.
Like I said,
but still you have to talk about it. You know that if it won't work, it won't work.
So you the person. This one shouldn't be limited to the guys.
Of course,
male and female.
Both males and females. So there are some guys also milking ladies, or
you the person helping the other partner. I mean, financially, you should know your limits. That's okay. If I give this to this person, I mean, it's fine. I'm giving it out of love. I can accommodate it. I can afford it. Okay. So that's. In future, you shouldn't be
overburdened with things, and
you shouldn't think that
no regrets later.
Let it be within your limits.
Look, whether it's within your limits or not, still the regrets will come.
Internet is all the show things.
Of course, I mean, until you guys are married, anything can happen. So you have to. I mean, relationship, like I always tell you, is like a risk-taking venture.
Cha-cha, bro.
Yes, it can always go. It's always 50-50. You can end up anywhere. So you just be cautious on how you. Just be extra cautious on how you thread. That's all. Okay, so let's talk about sexual boundaries, intimacy, consent, and desires.
Yeah. So
the wild stuff.
These conversations, we are not going to get freaky here, but then. When it comes to sexual boundaries, it is really important because there are some things that people may do indoors because of the level of exposure or the kind of experiences that they've had. So they make and the kind of things that the boys don't
that is the problem. That is the problem. Not too much porn, so you have some sort of expectation that you have somebody's daughter. I mean, if you are dating somebody, it shouldn't be sexual move.
Yeah,
let me do this. Let me do this because that is how it's supposed to be, and
of course
that's how it's supposed to be. I mean, relationship, dating. I mean, you get to know each other. It's not supposed to be sexual, but now we know it's sexual, so we talk about it. It doesn't mean that is the right thing.
Oh, but then we are talking
about
where
we are coming from.
No, I think we are talking about this because definitely if you should end up in marriage, you should know what you expect and what you not expect. Like, it's good to talk about this when you are in a relationship.
Yeah, sure.
So, sexually, there are some things that people can. I mean, there are some limits that people have experienced that they would want to translate
to you.
What I say?
They
have watched certain things. They have ideas, freaky ideas, bro, in their head.
Go and watch something and come and turn somebody's daughter into Ponko.
What I say? So that's the thing. And then I mean they forget that fine, maybe you can experiment and I mean do it, but then you shouldn't force it on your partner's truth.
So you have that conversation about boundaries. I mean, these things I can do. These things I can do. Because people have. Are you about to say something to us? There are people who have crazy fetishes. When it comes to sexual desires and sexual things, people do. I can't say it. I mean, obviously
you can't say it.
People want to go through the back door instead of the front door and all that. It's crazy. So you have to set those boundaries. Nana, if I'm doing this with you, I'm trying to go to the pinhole. Set those boundaries. I don't do that.
These conversations.
If it's not hard, it's always going to be a problem.
And then it has brought a lot of sexual perversion in our community lately.
It's crazy.
It's very crazy. There are people who I've heard news that people are sleeping with their partners. Like you said, the back door.
Yeah, and there are people who are not even getting that, living their relationships and their marriages.
And then they are having, I mean, effects of that
on
their health.
Recently, did you see the video of, I think it was in Nigeria or something, there was one married woman who went to a mall and then saw the side chick of the husband and she was fighting that she's using anal sex to, to win his husband away from her. She was eating it. It's crazy. It's crazy. So you talk about these compensations before you get into the relationship. Set those boundaries. So if you know you are going to a relationship where you can do that, you go in there. If you are not, then you might as well bounce before it gets too late. Yeah. Is there anything more to add? No, and consent.
Yeah. So consent. I mean, I remember you made a video about
that video there. It brought a lot of fast and then hullabaloo, people were talking about a lot of things.
But I mean, the bottom line is sex should be
from consent.
Yes, it should be.
The person is not in the mood, is not in the mood.
Don't prepare.
Even if the person understands, and at the point of insertion, the person says no.
You have to stop. That's the thing. You have to stop.
So always watching over that.
What that I'm not telling.
They give that consent.
That is it. So
emotional cohesion. Blackmail. He said he want this money. If I don't give, you should learn to respect each other. In that regard,
there should be that limit.
That limit of
if the person doesn't want it, you stop.
Yeah. So it has to be talked about. Set that boundary.
About all feelings.
Yeah. I remember, let me say this. I remember a pastor of mine once told me that, conversation, even, he was telling about certain conversations you have to have in your relationship before you even end up in marriage. Yeah. It was like, sexual needs are very important though. If you can do it once a week, you want to do it 5 times a week, you have to talk to your wife about it, your girlfriend about it before you end up married. Because if you get into the marriage and now your sexual desires or needs are way superior to hers, and it's going to create confusion. So if there's no set boundaries in that regard, it always, like you want to jump over the wall and then go outside to, satisfy yourself. And it's going to corrupt the relationship.
It was a very wise advice that he gave you.
Oh yeah. Shout out to him. I don't want to mention his name. He's one of our pastors. Life Community Baptist Church. Come and church with us, Charlie. We had East Legon Nigeria. No, we had Betfiat. Come, let's worship God. Okay, so let's talk about there's a lot to talk about. The most important or the most talked about things when then when people talk about boundaries, the digital boundary, let's talk about that. Then we jump to the negative effects of
that. You know, I really agree that there should be that kind of limits with, I mean, your digital world. Yeah. When it comes to your phone, you should know, you should communicate clearly to your partner that, okay, my phone is a no-go area because probably there is this reason, that reason. Let the person understand.
Yeah. So
that it wouldn't look like you are hiding something from the person.
Yeah.
Okay, communicate it clearly. And then you shouldn't be too suspicious to go and, I mean, what do you want to see?
I mean, if the person is being suspicious, it means you didn't have that conversation in the first place.
There's trust issues.
You have to let the person understand, because usually people think looking at your partner's phone is all about going through text messages.
Yeah,
of course. But there are people who work on their phone. There are work things on the phone which you don't have to see. This doesn't have to come out. There are people working in the security agencies. They are CIDs for crying out loud. They are police officers. They are undercover doing stuff. Okay, they have documents, sensitive documents on their phones. You can't be privy to those information. So if the person is having this conversation with you that you can't touch my phone, you can't watch certain things on my phone, you should understand. So he set those boundaries in that regard. What I said. My boys, baby, now you guys, you are not police people. You know security. You don't do any work. The woman is spending money for you, and still you are saying you won't touch my phone. But and then one cry if the person doesn't want you to touch your phone. Understand?
If you think that the person is cheating,
if you can live with that, just
I think that is the right thing.
You shouldn't be given a reason for the person to doubt you. Anyways,
if you think that the person is cheating, you don't need to go through the phone to see who the person is cheating.
And like they say, actions speak louder than words.
That is it.
You know, going through the phone call alone wouldn't.
No, trust me. Right now, people are so intelligent. I mean,
now they have locks and all stuff. People can hide things on their WhatsApp chats
under your nose.
Now people can even change the icon of their WhatsApp way on the phone.
So I don't think if you want to do that, you are just disturbing yourself.
Yeah.
If you realize that for your mental health sake, if you realize that this person is cheating, you can't be with the person. I mean, prompt the person. Assume this is what I've realized about your behavior lately.
Yeah.
Okay. It is suggesting to me that probably this is what is going on.
But yes, still, it's an important conversation to have. Yeah.
So let the person know.
Regardless of what you're doing,
I mean,
let the person understand the reason why you wouldn't want them to be touching your phone in this. And then there are people, even social media stuff.
I was about to say that.
Posting them on there.
Somebody like me.
Someone is not comfortable.
That's what I say.
But me, I know why you don't want to post anybody there. I know.
You can't put your dictionary into my dictionary. You know, so the thing is, some people are private to the point that they don't want their faces all around the media, all over the media. You know? So they would want to keep their relationship low key. I mean, it's between online. That is it.
Especially dating somebody who's a celebrity or something.
They want their relationship. The relationship like to be between you and them.
Life and stuff.
That is it. So that's the thing. You agree on that? Okay, please don't be posting pictures of us on the media for people to start probing into our relationship. That's the thing. You have that conversation.
To establish that there's a lot to talk about, but because of time's sake, let's move on to the next part of our conversation. I know we know that boundaries are essential for every healthy relationship.
It is.
But when they are overemphasized and then they are made too strict, they have these negative effects.
It does.
So let's talk about some of the negative effects of overemphasized and then too strict boundaries when they are set. The first one I would state distance or disconnection. That is an obvious one.
I think it's very true. Because the moment you overemphasize it, people will feel like, why, what is there? I mean, one thing that we should also note is that
it brings neglect. Okay, sure.
One thing we should also note is that when it comes to creating boundaries, you should also have it at the back of your mind that you should have the capacity to tolerate compromises a bit, because everything can go just as you want, just as you are. The person doesn't act like you. She also doesn't act. I mean, you have different paradigms of thought.
Yeah.
So definitely, intimate where say also person teaching only be cry. There will be some
to learn how to compromise.
Learn how to compromise. That's the thing.
Yeah.
So the moment you make it too straight, you're overemphasizing it. The person will start disconnecting. Like why? We are
Emotional
robots.
disconnection.
We are robots. We are humans. Definitely.
Should affect the person. And then the person might even feel you are neglecting them in that regard. That I mean. And then misinterpretation, they work hand in hand, they will misinterpret it. Hey, Asante bro. Hey, Jesus.
They will think that you mean something else.
It, you get it. So if you don't talk about certain things well, and then you don't make it quite clear, and then you overdo it, like they say, too much of everything is bad.
It's very bad.
You overdo it. The person might misinterpret it and feel like, oh, neglecting my feelings. You don't care about me. You don't want me to know about your stuff. Like when we're talking about emotional vulnerability, you don't want to be. People love when it gets to a point where you're able to be emotionally vulnerable to your partner. They love it that way.
Yeah.
So if you are not showing all those stuff, it feels that there's no emotional connection for us. I mean, there's that disconnection, which is always going to be a problem. Okay. Yeah. And then overprotection, conflicts, avoidance, using it to restrict, it's going to end up, restricting conversation when you guys.
It's real.
Yes,
definitely.
So it will hinder, relationship growth.
So all that we have said, about the, disadvantages of overemphasizing boundaries, it's clearly should tell us that whenever you are setting boundaries, know how to compromise a bit.
Yeah.
That is what it's telling us. Because you can't completely, you are not a computer. You are not a machine. Things can go, precise and then precise for you like that. Definitely, but then I could be careful. And then also on PC, but will be here. As I say, maybe somebody will invade your private space and then misarrange certain things, and then you get angry over that.
Next one, power struggle. Sometimes it can create some form of power struggle. I'm the boss here. Don't do this.
Don't do that. Don't do
it's so unhealthy. It's so unhealthy. It can end that. And then unrealistic expectations. Certain unrealistic boundaries can lead to disappointment or frustrations when they get, out of hand. As I say. It brings some sort of unrealistic way. You can't tell me that example of an unrealistic expectation. Is if you are not talking about the financial issue or like you were saying, as I said, you made the person feel like you are capable. The person is having this notion about you the whole day that approach, you get the money,
bro.
So the person is expecting
and then
this from you, and then you're unable to.
The person gets disappointed.
Boundary walls, this agreement can create ongoing conflict and extend tensions in the relationship, bringing a lot of tension and all that. Now let's move to the positives. Let's move to the positives of setting good boundaries and maintain it on a healthy level. I say healthy. Healthy is the key word. Increase trust, and it brings us to what we were talking about the other time. The person trusts you because the person wouldn't bother because now I know that. If you are doing this, I know this why you are doing this. So I trust you to this level. I trust you with my emotions. I trust you with my finances that you know that I don't have much. So if I give my ATM card to you,
it's just reasonable. Just reasonable. So when it comes to that, that's one of the advantages that you have mentioned.
Okay.
Yeah, by a lot of advantages to it.
And then improve conversation. What do you have to say about that?
Yeah.
It improves conversation.
Yes. So if you know what's
because you know what to expect.
You know what to expect. So you are like, okay, if I should say this, probably the person will get angry. I shouldn't converse with him.
Yes, the person knows this. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Almost can't be a Asante Kase. Almost say, conform our name, ne BB etiwade, ne suma etiwade na dem. I've forgotten the adage. Bro. So only ne etiwade. I'm fan canon. Until we na better.
Conform on payment money. Don't give up money.
To your clients want to entry.
Mess up. And then it breeds respect and then empathy. It fosters, a lot of respect and empathy. The person respects you that, this is what you are about. So, they don't want this. I respect you. Yeah. What's here? you've spoken about it, the person has understood it, so it's positive. Breeds a good relationship. Healthier conflict resolutions. You're able to resolve, your conflict issues easily. Because what's in us, of course, sometimes the boundary has been set and all that, but sometimes it will be easy to resolve your issues because the person will understand, because you even understand how emotional the person can. That emotional maturity is there. The person's emotional maturity. They can be able to be lenient and then forgive certain things easily in that regard. So yeah, true.
So it's important. The boundary setting.
Better time management. Because you've set boundaries. It can help. You prioritize your time, energy, and then even enhance your personal growth and then things you are doing.
There's something we didn't even mention in the digital.
Talk to me.
Yeah. So people, there are some partners that want to be all around you. They want to be texting you 24/7. Which is unrealistic. It's an unrealistic demand. You can't have your partner.
Why am I laughing?
I don't know. I don't know, bro.
Okay.
They are demanding attention from their partners. At a pace that is so unrealistic.
Yeah.
And then if this boundary is not communicated, the person will feel like, and it will create conflict. Okay. But if you know it, you know that at this time I'm at work. We are not supposed to be actively engaged in a conversation. So if you call me and probably it's not an emergency and you don't get me, that probably I'm busy.
I'm at work. You know my work schedule. What I say?
So you don't force what I say. Then you know how to manage your time. You know that at this time my partner is probably getting to the house or probably in the house. He's free at this time, so we can converse. We can have our conversations at this time.
True.
So it helps better. Your time management. You get it. Never timing now can plan.
Yeah, time management, and then like I was saying, enhanced creativity. It gives you time.
So you
have to sit down and create things. What I say, you focus on your passions and your interests, and then you build it also. But sometimes when the person is too much in your face, you don't get time. Example, to say me, sometimes I want to have time to write my music, try to write some lyrics, put in some works. I have to edit my videos to post.
Life
if you don't have that time, if you don't have somebody, it's true. There's more to life than dating and a relationship. Of course, marriage is a very important concept created by God, but you still have to be able to find time for yourself. So create that conversation and have that boundary. Okay, I think the bottom line is going to create a longer lasting relationship for you and your partner.
Yeah, if all things are
said and done. And then so where do you think at a point which point do you think this conversation should be had in a relationship? Let's touch on that quickly and then
I think it shouldn't be immediately. It should be gradual. You should get the person ease the person into it gradually.
Of course, learning is a slow process. You don't just jump into it.
I'll push you and I'll go far.
On your first date, you create a list. This is what I don't like.
I was like,
we've been funny before. Sometimes you are chatting to somebody in the first couple of days you are chatting the person. What are your likes and your dislikes?
You can't even tell all of that.
And the person is confused. I don't like it. But later you realize it's funny. This is very, very, very true. Charlie, I'm grappling.
It's good you talk about some of these things. When you are,
but it's not in the early stages of it. You have to get to know the person a little. Then you know what to set, how to even set it, how to even communicate it.
Because fine, we kind of outrightly, and I say, right at the start of the relationship,
you probably don't know
how the person will take it.
Yes, and then you probably don't know how the person is very well that much.
I'm married to a nerd, so I'm freak.
Like an IT geek, you are coming to a first date and you are bringing the whole list of me. I don't like you talking to me at this time. Come on.
But funny enough, when those days when they used to ask you what do you like and what you don't like, what were you saying?
Maybe I do.
Some silly stuff.
You have to create something. I mean, there's a conversation. You have to say something to keep the conversation going. But now, no, nah, you don't do that. Hey, boys, take this cue. Me, I'm not a Mr. Lover. I don't know much. But then, when you're talking to a lady in the first, don't go and be like, what are your likes and your dislikes?
That's like you'd be 10.
Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, don't do that. Yeah, folks, this all time will allow us today. You don't want to take much of your time. I mean, sometimes it's time consuming, but this all time will allow us today. We are going to catch you next week with a sequel of our first conversation we had about trust. But now, if you enjoy this conversation, like as usual, I want you to like this and share. We all have to learn. As young people, we have to learn and better our relationships so that we can, foster and create long-lasting relationships so that people don't end up chopping breakfast by heart. Because lately, we see how people they chop breakfast is not nice at all. People will be crying over the internet and all that. We have to set boundaries. What you say? We learn how to set these boundaries. So like and share. Let's learn. Let somebody also learn something. And then if you are new here, remember to subscribe to the channel and then hit on the notification bell down there. And I will do this. I'll leave a link up there in the description where you can watch the previous video, or you can go through the channel and watch some of our podcasts. We've been talking about very important and nice conversations about relationship. And then also remember to follow us on the various social media platforms at DJay Studios on on Twitter, on TikTok, and then on Instagram. That's where we are currently. And like I always say, pursue, overtake, and recover. And let me leave this. Remember, trust and everything is a journey. You don't just get there overnight. You have to build it. You have to walk the walk and learn. And with time, I believe everything is going to be fine. Okay? So catch you next time. Stay safe and be well.
All right, bye.
Cheers.